Welcome to this session of free online symposium on various competitive examinations by Shaheen Civil Services Academy. For those who want to serve country through military, air force or navy, a very good option is CDS examinations. To tell us about this examination, we have with us a squadron leader Toolika Rani. स्क्वाड्रन लीडर तुलिका रानी ने इंडियन एयरफोर्स में 10 साल के लिए काम किया। वहां से रिटायर होने के बाद वो माउंटेनियर बन गई। उन्होंने 23 डिफरेंट एक्सपेडिशंस एंड ट्रैक्स में पार्ट लिया, जिसमें एक माउंट एवरेस्ट के लिए और एक ईरान के माउंट दमवंद के लिए था। आज तुलिका रानी अलग अलग न्यूज़पेपर्स और मैगजीन्स में आर्टिकल लिखती हैं, अलग अलग जगह मोटिवेशनल टॉक्स देती हैं, स्टूडेंट्स को और दूसरे लोगों को मोटिवेट करती हैं। आई विल इनवाइट स्क्वाड्रन लीडर तुलिका रानी टू गाइड अस अबाउट CDS एग्जामिनेशन।
Jai Hind to the future soldiers, the brave sons and daughters of India, whose ceaseless aim is to join Indian Armed Forces, don the uniform, and to be able to rise to the occasion to defend their nation when the occasion arises. A big thumbs up to you all, because you have chosen a very worthy path in life. There is nothing worthier than fighting for your nation. So here at Shaheen Group of Institutions, we wish you all to be marching into the Indian Air Force academies, and therefore we are here to assist you in that journey. Before proceeding ahead, following the tradition of Indian Armed Forces, I would like to introduce myself in a short way. I am Squadron Leader Toolika Rani. I have served in Indian Air Force for 10 years from 2005 to 2015. As an air traffic controller, my main branch was administration, sub-branch ATC. Also, I had the privilege to serve as an outdoor training instructor in the prestigious Indian Air Force Academy, the same place which is the alma mater of all the Indian Air Force officers. The same place, in the academy, I had the pleasure to oversee the transformation of many young boys and girls into officers as an ODT instructor. So I wish you all very good luck in your journey, and we at the Shaheen institutions are with you to assist you at every step. So coming back to the topic now, when we say be a soldier, we first should be aware as to what a soldier is. So I here remember a quote from John Keegan. This is the best definition of a soldier that comes in my mind. He goes like this: soldiers, when committed to a task, don't compromise. It's an unrelenting devotion to the standards of duty and courage, and not letting the task until it is done. So this is, in Hindi we would say, is जोश, जज्बा और जुनून. Soldiers जो हैं वो अपने commitment, perseverance और determination से जाने जाते हैं. लेकिन ये जोश, जज्बा और जुनून, it has to be translated into reality to achieve your goal, to execute your task. And that is why we need to sit down and understand the task very clearly and fully. Right now, as CDS aspirants, the task in front of you is the CDS examinations or the OTA. So first of all, we will go step by step to understand what the exam is all about. This is an introductory session, guys, because this is the first session. So we are also starting and taking care of those aspirants who have no clue about the examination, who have just started from the beginning. So we will go into the details of this examination, and I will tell you as to what is the basic structure. So Armed Forces examination, it is conducted primarily in two parts. First is the written test, thereafter followed by the interview. Written test for CDS, they have 3 sections for the English, GK and elementary mathematics. For OTA, OTA is specifically for Short Service Commission, women officers. In OTA, there is no elementary mathematics section in the paper. There are only 2 sections. So here we are clear about it. SSB interview, is again conducted in 2 stages, 1 and 2. In detail, we will discuss in further slides. So here, how do you go about it? Now when you know that these are the steps, how do we go about it? The basic rules when we sit down to prepare for an examination are these, as I am going to discuss. First of all, look at the syllabus, because every examination has a syllabus. You need to be friends with your syllabus. It should be on your tips. You shall know each and every part of your syllabus by your heart, because only then when you are reading something, you will be able to relate it to the syllabus. So that is why syllabus knowledge is very, very important. Next thing is, you should know the pattern of the examination, how the examination is conducted. Then, now when you are aware of all these things, what are the sections, how many papers are there, what are the marks, I will discuss the pattern in detail in the next slides. Then you sit down to study. Now, the thing to be kept in mind is the study material, because there is so much study material nowadays on online, in the form of books, in the form of counseling, guidance, that an aspirant sometimes, or most of the times rather, gets confused. So here I would like to tell you, choose very specifically. See, there are some standard books that you have to read. Thereafter, choose 1 or 2 websites, like the Shaheen group of institution is there. It is a good institution. You can follow this regularly. So whatever material you have chosen in your study, you have to be very consistent with it, because nothing, no goal is achieved overnight. You will have to put in very sustained work, hard work of hours and months. So I would say, if you are starting, if you are aspiring to prepare for CDS, it has to be a minimum of 6 months of very dedicated hard work. So every day you have to make your goals in your study, you have to set your markers. Each day when you get up, you need to know as to, this is how much I am going to accomplish today. And then take an assessment in the night before sleeping, how much you have achieved out of it, how much time you have wasted in temptations, in other unnecessary things. So this is how the study for CDS needs to be done. Most important thing is to have a look at the past year question papers, because by doing these papers, you will also come to know as to what are the most important aspects of your syllabus, where you need to focus more, what are your strength and weakness areas, how much time management you still need to do. So that is why all these steps together will take you further in your CDS preparation. The broad overview of the syllabus I have given in this slide. You can just pause the video, have a look at these slides and know what are the syllabus points. See, in English, it is just in graduation level English. Same is with GK. So we know the normal English we do know. The kids who are coming from the Hindi heartland, I can understand that English can be a little issue, because English is not our mother tongue. But the good news is that it can be learnt. It is after all a language, so there is nothing to fear. You can go ahead with it. There are certain books. I will discuss this in detail as to how to go about each section in your preparation. This is the pattern, as you can see right now on the slide. For CDS, there are 3 sections, as I told you. There are 100 marks for each section and 2 hours each will be given to a paper. For OTA, as we have already discussed, there is no mathematics, only English and general knowledge is there. The point to bear is that there is negative marking. For each 3 questions done wrong, you will be penalized for 1 mark. So here you have to be very careful when you are attempting your question papers. If you do not know the answer of a question, it is better to leave it. Or you can take calculated risk, but that assessment will come only when you do regular practice of solving previous year questions. Now we will go one by one to study as to how to master each section of the paper. So first, starting with English. As I said, that some people may be a little deficient in English, but that is not at all a problem. See, first of all, I would like to clarify as to why English is necessary in Indian Armed Forces. because sometimes this question may arise in the minds of the aspirants that we have left behind the British rule, but why we are still continuing with English in Indian Armed Forces. So the answer to it is that India is a multilingual, diverse country where our soldiers come from various places of this nation. And as an officer, when you stand in front of them, your task is to communicate clearly with them. When you are assigning them a task, when you are discussing a strategy with them, your task is that you have to make them fully understand. Only then you will be able to work cohesively in a team and be able to execute the task assigned you guys as a team. If there is even one link which is weak, who has not understood what you said, then there will be the dilemma, there will be the peril of your entire team's work going wrong. So that is why we need English in Indian Armed Forces. That is why we have a little emphasis on knowing the basic knowledge of English. So it is nothing very big. You don't need to be a master in this, but you need to know the basic level. For this, there are standard books again. I have mentioned the name of two books here. The Wren and Martin book, High School English Grammar and Composition, and the Objective General English book by S.P. Bakshi. So you can refer to these two books, and I suppose that should be enough to give you the basic understanding of English. To know any language, see, there are these 4 steps that I have shown you on the slide. First of all, you need to read. So if you need to learn English, start reading English newspapers, magazines and books. In the beginning, you will not be able to understand it much, but as you go along, it will seem easier. Whatever word you're not able to understand, look into your mobile. Earlier we used to use dictionary. Now it is a little easier to just open Google and search it. So you will get the meaning. This much involvement you need to show in learning English. Then start writing whatever you have read. The new words, the vocabulary that you have learned, start using it in your sentences. And thereafter, listen to it. Listen to English songs perhaps if you are listening to music. Listen to other people conversing in English. So that way you will have an ease of understanding an English conversation. After that, speak, of course. Then you need to speak also. So start at whatever stage you are. Even if you are faltering initially in speaking English, you have to first start somewhere. Find out some friends who are perhaps at your level or at a better level. Make a team and start practicing English conversations. Coming on to GK. See, GK encompasses everything in this world. So I don't need to tell you what GK is. We all understand about it. History, geography, polity, economics, and everything that is happening around you is general knowledge. So you need to be an aware citizen. You need to watch news. You need to read newspapers definitely every day. So these are the 2 sections of general knowledge. One is static, another is dynamic. Static knowledge is which has already happened, which is there in the books already written. So you need to read NCERT books. These are the must. From 6th class to 12th class, you need to be well versed in the NCERT books. Plus the static portion of knowledge such as language, folk dances, dynasties, capitals, currency, as I have already written down. So these things are something which you need to revise at frequent intervals so that they get embedded in your mind. To be well versed in the dynamic GK, again you have to read either India Yearbook or along with it, if you have time, you read competitive examination magazines, newspapers, and there are good current affairs websites also. So regularly follow 1 or 2 current affairs websites and keep on discussing amongst your friends. When you come to mathematics, now this is one paper which can raise your score very high because you will get exact marks. If you are good at mathematics, you can really score very well in this examination. But for that, you need speed because the time is limited, number of questions is really high, and sometimes the level, though it is matriculation level, for some people it could be slightly difficult also. So for that, you need to practice it regularly. Practice the previous year question papers, have some kind of tips and tricks, methods, formulas. They should be at your fingertips. The cubes, the cube roots, the tables, All these things you should have them by heart. Now comes this thing, the mother of all SSB, the Service Selection Board. So we have already finished with the introductory session of the CDS. Now, because after CDS, you have to go through the SSB. Only then you will be qualified to become an officer in Indian Armed Forces. And this, guys, SSB has been a mysterious thing in many people's mind. And generally, I have been asked about it as to what the interviewers, what the SSB board looks into a candidate. It is such an enigma, you don't know about it. I would here share on a lighter note an incident which happened with me. At the time of my retirement, I was coming back from Hyderabad and the train had already started. I was just coming as a normal person. Nobody knew that I was in armed forces, that I had just retired from the Indian Air Force Academy. And there was a group of people in my compartment, especially two young guys, discussing the same topic. And I was just quietly listening to it. What do they look into a candidate when you go to SSB? Also because SSB is conducted for 4 to 5 days. So it is something very unique, not done in any other examination. So what is it exactly that you need to have in you in order to clear SSB? So here we are going to unravel this mystery. And this is what the best photograph that I could get for defining the officer-like qualities. This is the magic word, OLQs, officer-like qualities. Though the picture is a little blurred, but I wanted to specifically show you this picture only because the way it sums up what the OLQs are, I found it really amazing. So it shows you the mind, heart, guts and limbs. These 4 factors, you need to have it combined in a very powerful compact mixture in a person, and that is when you are actually ready to become an officer in Indian Armed Forces. We do not need basically an excess of any one aspect of a human being. We have heart, mind, body, soul and physical fitness, but we do not need excess in one compartment and deficit in another. We need a very balanced mixture of all these qualities. You will realize that in armed forces, there is nothing called a one-man army. It is just a thing of the movies. I will clarify here. The army or the armed forces rather, they only work at unity. As a team, there is nothing called a single-man army. So you need to have all these qualities. When you need to arise as a leader, you should have the ability to take that initiative, to just go in front, take decisions. You also need to motivate your men working under you, looking up to you. So when you need to take a decision, go just in the front. You shall have that fearless approach and that motivating capacity. But at the same time, when you need to fall back, when you are in the capacity of a junior, when you already have somebody else commanding you, you shall have the capacity to also listen to him or her and quietly obey. So these 2 qualities, if you have it in good mixture, if you can work as a team, so teamwork involves many things. It involves your adaptability, your positive outlook towards the other person, and also your ability to command as well as to be commanded. So this is what actually this SSB is looking into a candidate. Also the physical fitness is a must for armed forces, as you know. So the fitness of the mind, the goodness of the heart, the guts, and also the physical fitness. That is what makes a soldier. Now what happens in SSB? When you go there and you are a guest of SSB for 4 to 5 days, what actually happens behind those walls? So this is what I am telling you here. As we had already discussed, it is done in 2 stages, stage 1 and stage 2. Stage 1 is also sometimes called the screening test. So as you go first, you will be given a reasoning test, verbal and non-verbal reasoning, the basic level of reasoning. So you can, I think, very well clear it, not a problem at all if you have practiced a little bit. In the same thing, same examination, you also have a picture perception and description test. This one is a very important factor here. So we will discuss in detail about it. Right now I'm just telling you what happens. We will come back to it because this is one very interesting aspect that tells most of the things about a candidate. When you clear this screening examination, now you are grilled by these three people: psychologist, GTO, the group testing officer, and the interviewer. So all these together assess you comprehensively for this task, joining Indian Armed Forces. Thereafter, when you are done with the whole process, only the selected gents come out of the entire process. Yes, the number of selection is quite less, but I would say that it is required to have absolutely fitting people into armed forces, because there is no scope for any mistake. We cannot take any chances with the sovereignty, with the security of our nation. So we absolutely need the capable minds, hands and bodies and hearts, the capable people absolutely to be in armed forces. But as I said, the good news is that you can inculcate all those qualities if you have the passion, the zeal, the determination. You have it in you all the day. So the test that I was talking about, the picture perception and description test, I would give you a brief overview here. This is what happens when you go in the initial first stage. There will be a blurry kind of a picture given to you and shown to you just for a few seconds. Thereafter, in next 4 minutes, you have to instantly write a story about it, a half page or so story. In that, first of all, you do not have time to think. So whatever you will be writing, it will be showing your inner personality. The beauty of it is that the picture is blurred. So right now I have shown you one picture. If you guys look at it, somebody perhaps would say, oh, somebody is drowning in it and another person is trying to save him. Perhaps the other person, the next two candidate, will come up with a picture that, okay, he will have an idea. Maybe these guys are conducting a drill. Maybe perhaps they're teaching the coastal people how to save themselves if there is a flood or if they start drowning in something. Maybe this is a teaching drill. Perhaps somebody will come up with an idea that there is a calamity maybe and somebody is trying to save. So different kind of ideas will come in different people's minds. They will show their own personality over there in this half page of a story. The few points that you need to bear in mind when you are writing a story is be prepared by practice. And also you have to be very, very positive about everything. Any situation in life, any situation in your armed forces career also. First of all, you don't have to lose hope. First of all, you have to be very positive that yes, the outcome will be good. So that positive outlook, be it in your picture writing, be it in your word thematic examination, because they will also give you one word and you will have to write a sentence instantly. There will be kind of 60 words or so like that. So basically what I'm trying to say here is that whatever comes in front of you, whether at the initial symptom it seems like a negative thing or a positive. Even if I tell you it is fire, if I give you a word fire, perhaps the first thing comes in your mind that okay, there is a fire in a building. But instead of it, train your mind to think positive and say that they were conducting a stimulated fire training drill. Now this is a positive thing. So that's what I want your minds to be trained into. Whatever comes in your before your eyes, whatever comes before your eyes, it has to be absolutely positively reinforced in your mind. Second, you have to present yourself as the lead character in the story, because we want to see you and not somebody else doing the leadership job. Aim very high, and also in every sphere of your life in armed forces, it is always going to be the teamwork. It will never be for the individual task, or the rewards when they come, it will never be for the individuals. So that you have to always bear in mind. Some people write that okay, we have written a story, this person did something good and later on he or she was awarded by the president. No guys, in armed forces you do not work for the recognition or awards, individual awards. If they come, that's okay, that is by chance, but the purpose of doing something is not to gain individual recognition. You have to bear that in mind. The group discussion. Once you have already written your story, now you will all be seated in a group and thereafter you will be asked to make one final story of your group. Now understand here, what we are trying to look at is not the story basically. We are just looking at your conduct. We are looking as to how you work in a team. So here I would like to tell you guys one thing very clearly. Do not try to dominate. Understand it is a teamwork, and you have to listen also in a teamwork. So you make your point, add the value addition, whatever you have said already to that, and thereafter keep quiet, listen to people. Sometimes I have also seen that somebody tries to physically dominate other people. So that's really wrong. That's really minus at the go. So don't try to do that. Another aspect of the SSB is the GTO, the group testing officer task. Here again, I have written, see, treat it as a battlefield. There will be a minefield kind of a situation. You are standing at one side of a field, you need to reach the other side. In between, there are certain obstacles and you have been given certain resources, and you are a team of a few people. So this is exactly the simulation of a war scenario where you will be given a very difficult task. You will be a few people in your team and you will have some kind of ammunition or resources or aircraft or something, and then you have to execute the task without losing your life or your team members' life. So this is the simulation here. Again, you need to understand that the focus shall be not to present your individual leadership, but you have to show that you have this in mind, that your entire team needs to get through that work, that task. This is a minefield in between, or you have a task, so the whole team, not the individual. You just cannot leave even one person behind. So your mind shall work in that scenario that, okay, I have to be innovative. I am the leader, but I have the responsibility to delegate these tasks. We together have to complete this. We together have to survive this battle and win it. So that's the kind of approach you shall have in the GTO. Also, you have the individual obstacle test. There are a kind of 10 obstacles spread in a field. There will be a time, 3 minutes or so, and you have to finish all these obstacles in those 3 minutes also. So you have to manage your time. With this, you have to be very physically fit. So that is the point that I always say. If you are an aspirant of armed forces, physical fitness is a must. There is no compromise on it. So you have to run every day, you have to do your exercises every day, you have to be absolutely in a good shape. In this obstacle test, the most important thing along with the fitness is the fitness of your mind. Because we will, or they will, the selectors, they will, the selectors, they will consciously put you into a fearful situation. Like in the picture, you can see a red cloth. So that red is the mark of danger. Subconsciously, when you see the red, it is danger. Run away from it. No. Now this is what you need to train your mind to. In a dangerous situation also, as a soldier, you just can't run away. Even if there is a danger to your life, no, you can't run away. At a red signal, you cannot run away. You have to be there, you have to fight, and you have to win it. And that is why we are looking at this thing. So more than completing every task, more than successfully doing it, this is what we are looking at. In your mind, do you actually have that killing instinct to just go for it, however dangerous it is? So the next test will also be situation reaction test. In this, again, you will be given multiple situations at the same time. Some 3 or 4 crises are happening simultaneously. You as a leader have certain resources and you need to cater to everything. Now you need to handle multiple crises at the same time. So this is how it happens in the battlefield. Always remember, through all these tests, we are just looking at your capability to manage that stress, physical and emotional and resource stress also. So this is a comprehensive test of your entire personality. How do you perform under a crisis situation? So in life also, things unfold like this. On a battlefield, certainly things are going to unfold like this when multiple crises are happening at the same time in different theaters, and you are responsible to deal with every contingency. So here, the tip is that you need to prioritize first of all. So you need to see what is life-threatening, what I can manage in a lesser attention way. So that you have to prioritize. You have to utilize all your resources given, big or small. You have to delegate. Not necessarily you can do everything. You cannot be at every spot on your own. So you delegate your team members the task. Also practice. There are practice books. There are tests also. You have the SRT given in different books. So practice. The more you practice, the more you will be able to harness your own strength and energy and strategy in giving a comprehensive response to SRTs. Public speaking. Well, this is very well understood, I suppose, as to why an officer in Indian Armed Forces has to be a good public speaker. Because when you stand in front of your men, first of all, you have to initiate confidence in them. If they have the confidence that yes, our leader, what he or she is speaking, she has the absolute knowledge as to where we are going, what our task is, how we are going to do it, who is going to do what, they have this confidence in you. Then they will follow your plan exactly the way you want. They will also be able to give their lives for you, the leader, the task. So that is why public speaking is very important. For that, you all know that you have to have knowledge as to what is happening around. That is only when you will be able to speak in a proper way. Also the confidence, the command over language, way of delivery, these are very well understood points. So you have to practice for this also. It comes when you talk to your friends, even at your house, you can stand in front of a mirror and practice speaking. So with a lot of practice, you will be a good public speaker. This is a must for the Armed Forces officers. Thereafter comes the interview, in which you will be faced one-to-one with the interviewer, and multiple types of questions will be asked to you. So there are some general questions that are asked to most of the people. There will be something specific questions that will be asked to you depending upon your personality. So here there are few points that I have already listed out. Your first impression as to how you present yourself, that matters quite nicely. That matters to a maximum extent. Thereafter, the way you sit, the way you are confident, cheerful and positive again shows the strength of your mind in a situation which is kind of a very, which is a situation which can make you nervous. So if you are composed, that again shows to the interviewer that you can keep your calm, you can be composed in a very negative situation or a tension situation also. To face interviews, first of all, you have to know yourself very thoroughly. Who are you? Generally, we do not ask ourselves these questions. We are so engrossed in the outside lives that we don't have any time to talk to ourselves, to dig deeper within us and to know what are our aspirations, what are our strengths, also what are our weaknesses, who are the people associated with us, what are their strengths and weaknesses, why do we like them, why do they like us, if somebody does not like us, why is that? So these are the questions. If I do something in a day, why do I do it? For how long do I do it? What are my tasks? How do I spend my day? So these are the general questions that will be asked to you. What are your hobbies? If you have a particular hobby, how much involved you are in that hobby? So these kind of questions will generally be asked to you. And for this, I would recommend that you sit down, you take some time out and try to know about yourself first. That will also help you in good state in later on with your life. As a human being, you can develop more when you know about yourself first. So it is not only about the armed forces, it is also about any other field, any field that you want to do good at. First of all, it has to begin with you. So sit down and know yourself. So that's all, guys. I would say with this, I have given you just an introductory session. We will keep on dealing with it in detail with each and every aspect. We will handhold you, not a problem at all. So right now, when you are at your determined best, you are young, dynamic, vibrant, persistent. So I would say that yes, you have it all. First of all, because you have thought of joining armed forces, that is the proof that you have something very different in you. So keep it alive. harness it to your maximum strength, work upon it, build upon it, and do everything that is required to attain your goal. Be ready for the academy, whatever it takes, imbibe in you, become an officer even before you step into the academy. That is what is required. So we have just dealt in a brief what is required to be an officer. You inculcate all these things in your day-to-day life, then your attitude, then your heart, body, soul, all these three are tuned into that direction. When you start feeling like an officer from within, I can assure you, nobody can stop you from joining the armed forces. So get ready for your academy. Wish you a very great journey. See you in the academy then. Jai Hind.
Thanks for joining us on this session on CDS by Toolika Rani. कल हम लोगों के पास 3:30 PM पर एक सेशन है मिस्टर मुकेश सहाय की तरफ से, डायरेक्टर शाहीन सिविल सर्विसेज एकेडमी। वो हमें गाइड करेंगे क्लैट एग्जामिनेशन के बारे में। At 8 PM, we will be joined by Mr. Sameer Siddiqui, UPSC trainer, who will guide us about IAS examination preparation. So join us on www.shaheengroup.org.